Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome to Combat Mission Shock Force 2, the second entry in my little mini-review series of the Combat Mission games currently available on Steam. And this one is the one I would actually recommend to newbies to the series, as you are in the main campaign placed in command of Task Force Thunder, a very powerful American assault force during the invasion of, I think it was Syria, some Middle Eastern place anyways, where you are going to be fighting with top modern equipment against massively outdated Soviet technology. It'll be a far more gentle introduction to the world of combat mission than fighting against vastly superior Soviet tech in the early 1980s. Though, I don't think that makes the game easy, as more often than not, the leading cause of American combat casualties is not the enemy's capabilities or their technology, but rather American bureaucracy, which is wonderfully demonstrated in this mission, the 5th in the campaign, where our little group, led by a force of 4 Bradleys and supported by 3 gun carriers and a handful of infantry-mounted strikers. Infantry-mounted? There you go, yes. Not striker-mounted infantry, no, the other way around, has been ordered to take this, a outskirt area of a major town currently under attack by American forces. Now, the main force of the fighting is actually taking place further to the north, but this is the area we've been put in charge of. However, the civilians have not been evacuated, and so I am barred from simply just blowing the entire goddamn place up, which has been my main strategy in the campaign up until this point. And it's a particularly large shame as well, as this group has some absolutely ridiculous artillery support, which by and large I am not allowed to use, which is, again, a hint annoying, but as I mentioned, American bureaucracy, the leading cause of US combat casualties since, well, World War I, practically. Anywho, I'll be going through this operation, trying to cut out a little bit here and there, as it's a fairly lengthy one. The 1 hour 40 minutes is more because you gotta move slow in this operation. It is a heavily built up area, and I have no idea exactly what I'm up against, beyond that there will be irregular forces, militias, and crazy jihadists in here. There will be some regular army, and there is also expected to be at least a small force of Syrian special forces, along with some armored element and potentially mechanized reinforcements. So, I can't really rush things, as I'm expected to be rather horrifyingly outnumbered. Now, in the deployment phase right here, we are going to simply send forth a slow yet stately procession of our Bradley IFVs, as the Bradley is an absolute beast of a machine, and I have absolutely no doubt that it will be able to murder its way through pretty much anything that is likely to stand in its way here. So, we're going to set them up, and then we are simply going to order them to slowly roll forward, whilst murdering absolutely everything in their path. The Bradley. It's quite the different beast from the M113 of the Cold War, to put it bloody mildly. Not only does it have an actual gun in this case, with a 25mm autocannon, it also has a pair of dual-mounted tow missile launchers along with an assload of optics. It is not only incredibly lethal, it's also likely to spot you long before you spot it. I love the Bradley. I cannot say the same for the Strikers, however. The Striker is a kind of awful vehicle in my opinion. I mean, it's better than the M113, but so is shitting yourself, so it's really not really that much of a praise, honestly. Nevertheless, they are pretty goddamn fast, so we're going to rush them up here. Then we are going to unload the infantry. Turn you the correct way. Unload the infantry, and hopefully then we'll be able to rush on back down this hill again before getting murdered by whatever can potentially see me up here. If I was to be extra careful, I could deploy the infantry just one by one, but I want to try and take advantage of what little sunrise or sunlight is still going to be available, as the sun is going to be going away in just maybe another half an hour. Now that in reality is actually a good thing, it's a fantastic thing, because the US force is universally equipped with night vision, which is an absolutely hilariously enormous advantage when fighting against a bunch of people who haven't even heard of enemies. Right then, there we go. The mobile gun systems will back up the Bradleys, as the Bradleys simply slowly mosey forward, butchering whatever gets in front of them. The city has already been exposed to a few strikes, so I've been reassured that any bunkers or fixed emplacements have already been taken care of, so I'm not too worried about that. And hell, even if they hadn't been, again, I'm pretty sure the Bradleys can take care of it. A little bit of AI retardation here as they decide to get in front of each other. There's the first targets off in the distance. Those... that looked like a... hello? What the hell are you? That looked like a technical of some sort of description. Oh, yeah, there we are. Ah yes, irregular forces. Evil men in pajamas. In this case, they seem to have acquired themselves a pickup truck and decided to mount a dishka on the rear of it. Unfortunately, I believe pickups are probably not immune to 25mm rounds, so we should be seeing some effect on target pretty soon due to that. A little bit of Syrian artillery turning some dirt off in the distance. That is way too far off for me to worry about over much. No targets of opportunity have decided to spread apart their arse cheeks and present themselves to the Bradleys just yet, which is a hint unfortunate. But the strikers haven't gotten shot at either, so I guess I'm happy about that. Just like in Cold War, the game functions in a turn-based system, or, well, you can do real-time as well, but I really, again, would not recommend it. The game is intended to play this way, in my opinion, where each turn is about 1 minute long, and it is simulated out, and then you have to give out the appropriate instructions. The AI is surprisingly reasonable. I didn't talk about this enough in the Cold War one, but they will make semi-intelligent decisions when it comes to, you know, seeking out cover, trying to actively spot the enemy, and even trying to recover and avoid. Like, this striker has just realized that it's been spotted by a tank, and so, with APC drivers in general being rather skittish animals, have decided to try and move out of the way so as to not get shot at. Now, to be fair, it's a pretty intelligent decision, everything considered. Again, I don't expect there to be much in the way of actually dangerous hardware in this city, but a tank is a tank is a tank, and it will murder a poor little APC. Speaking of, now that they have successfully delivered their infantry cargo, we're going to instruct these little strikers to turn around and double time it back home again to safety. Now, spotting positions. This will be important. This hill here is a pretty amazing position, but since all of the enemy forces were expected to be holed up inside of the city, it felt pretty safe to rush on up here. We're going to have the marksman team move forward first. They're going to move up there, and then we're going to have them slowly crawl their way over to these bushes. Sadly, there's no real good line of sight tool. There is a target mechanic, which you can, like, see here, but it's really derpy, and it doesn't really take into account the unit's ability to, you know, move slightly and try and get into a better spotting position at all, which is mildly infuriating. Actually, send these guys up here, since they do have the laser rangefinder equipment, and instead we'll send the command unit up here, and then they can chivvy on into position. Now, they are able to see through a little bit of shrubbery, so you don't have to worry about, like, every single bush getting in their way, but again, whatever advantage you can beseech the AI, beseech upon the AI, beseech upon? That's the wrong word. Grant to the AI, you probably want to, as otherwise they're going to do stupid things. Oh. That's the Mark 19 from the lead striker there, who's apparently found himself something to shoot at. It's optimistic range for Mark 19, but hey, who knows, it might hit something. Oh hey, there you go. A 40mm grenade straight through the hood. If anything, I'm mildly surprised this thing is still operational. That's a sturdy little pickup truck, really. Scare the shit out of the people in the back there, too. Now, as mentioned, I am banned on using high explosives, but, you know, a few striker rounds here and there, the occasional 25mm anti-air, a gunshot high explosive shell, you know, that kind of stuff is fine. That kind of stuff is fair and dandy. Oh, something's found something to shoot at. Now, 105mm is a little larger, but sadly, there's no way to actually turn off those weapons in the game, which is really kind of infuriating, really. Otherwise, I would absolutely tell them to not use the heavy weaponry. Alright, let's have the infantry get out here. And we can... We'll leave them to guard right now, but we'll be repositioning these fairly soon. Did we get an eye on that tank, by the way? We did not. Let's get the spotters into position.
Enemy unit ahead.
Oh, there we go. I was pretty sure there wouldn't be anything on the outskirts, and if they were, 4 Bradleys would be more than enough to deal with literally anything. Oh, careful there. I will take a massive points penalty if I start blowing up buildings, so I'd rather avoid it, but I did kill the technical with a 105mm cannon. Slight overkill, yes, but hey, dead enemy is dead enemy. Alright, doesn't look like there's anything on the outskirts that I should be worried about. Let's deal with that tank, though. I do have an Apache attack helicopter backing me up as well, which should be more than capable of knocking out this little vehicle, so we'll call that one in. And with the initial maneuvers out of the way, I now need to jockey for position, so I'll rejoin you once I've readied a bit of a firebase. Second dug-in tank, or actually this one looks mobile. That's a bit of an issue. Again, the Bradley IFEs are bloody awesome, and head-on-head, I'll actually give them a decent chance, because as long as they get their town missile off, what, T-62, I'd guess, probably? Like, this would be scrap metal, yeah, definitely a T-62. Would be scrap metal in a quarter of a second, but strikers, not so much. Now, the Apache's already busy, but I'm going to take a tiny bit of a risk here, and I'm going to set up the 105mm artillery, and I'm going to send out one round, and I'm going to use precision, because you can see here it has 4 rounds of Excalibur ammo. Now, the Excalibur ammunition is very, 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 very special ammo. They're smart artillery shells with a, I think they're supposed to hit within like 3 meters of a target, tops. So they're pinpoint precision artillery. They're bloody awesome is what they are. And they should have a pretty decent chance of smacking this little tank right there. It'll be a better opportunity, at least, than trying to use the multi-gun carriers. See, we've got a little bit of fire going out in this direction as well. Quite a lot, in fact. A pretty hefty volume of firepower going back and forth. We can use these... Oh, god damn it again. Yeah, this is a problem with the strikers. They have an incredibly nasty habit of throwing their wheels goddamn constantly. Sigh. Right, well, I'm 1 mobile gun system down right there. Now, you can reduce the chance of that happening by telling them to only move slow or move in normal speed, but even then, I've seen the strikers immobilize themselves on perfectly flat ground going slow before, so it's just a roll of the dice. Sooner or later, your strikers are gonna blah 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 immobilize themselves. English, holy shit! Oh Christ, have you gotten a beat on that one? All right, that's dangerous. I mean, it hasn't spotted me yet. Oh god, this is hazardous. Because, again, this thing does not have... Oh, good shot. Has nowhere near the kind of optics of the striker. And it might not even be able to return effective fire, but if this hits the striker is bloody vapor. It knocked it out. Holy shit. Right, well, that was a happy accident. A happy accident that could have ended very, very, very poorly. Alright then. Fantastic. Well, in that case, I'm gonna...
Check fire, check fire, check fire.
I'm gonna call that off, and I'm obviously gonna call this off.
Break, break, break.
And we'll send in instructions to hit that with the Hellfire instead. Huh. Right, well, happy little accident. Right, let me get back to actually setting up that fire field. And here we are with the firebase more or less set up. This is not a game for those who lack patience. Particularly not Shock Force 2, because, again... Ooh, hello. Hi. What were you? What were you? That is not the icon of a technical. What were you? That is a... BMP-1? That is some pretty old-ass nonsense right there. Well, they did say that they were potentially a mechanized formation in the area, and that appears to be correct. Right, well, that's going to make things even more complicated, isn't it? But, yes, as I was saying, the game is not for those who are impatient, because whilst you are superior in many ways, absolutely, all of that superior firepower, all of those superior optics, the night vision, the weaponry, the artillery, yada yada yada, all of that is only good so long as you can actually maintain a superior position and deploy those weapons against the enemy. The moment you have to go and fight... Ooh, good hits. The moment you've got to fight close quarters, point blank battles, all of that fancy ass tech goes right out the window. When it's 8K versus M16, all the fancy gear in the world is not going to protect you. Now, luckily, my Bradley's got a good angle on those and managed to knock out one and cripple a second one. That was a very nice thing right there. Right, you can hear the Apache coming in the background as well. Normally, I would immediately order the Bradleys to begin moving forward to make sure that I've got a good angle on that area, but... I need this tank dealt with first. I'm not going to risk an IFV to a goddamn stationary tank just because I need to kill a couple of BMPs. That seems like an incredibly bad trade, frankly. And with the Apache overhead, we should be seeing that Hellfire coming in awfully soon, I hope. I can hear them communicating over the... There we go. That was the Hellfire. That is a penetration.
Ready to engage.
And that...
Roger. Cleared hot.
That is a tank. Out of commission. Fantastic. Yeah, they're still churning dirt over there. Now, the enemy is not so nice in this game as to give you a plume of red smoke to be like, we're gonna bomb this area. Move, please. Oh, no, no, no. The only way you know that you're about to get smacked is... well, the Apache decided to spend one of its ATGM rounds on something. Not really particularly sure what, honestly, but something, definitely. Oh, goddammit. I did not mean to do that! See, sometimes the interface doesn't pop up immediately, and it kind of annoys me, because I'm like, why didn't it pop up? Did I not click the button? I did click the button. Right, well, we're waiting for dark anyways, and it's getting pretty dark. So it's time to start actually doing a little bit of assaulting, methinks. But yes, the only way you know you're about to get artied is if you see the ranging shots fall. Because the entire process of calling in artillery... There we go. Has a ranging element where the normal artillery rounds, the non-Excalibur artillery rounds, they're pretty accurate, but, you know, relatively speaking. Relatively accurate as in you're firing a dumb artillery round at the very long distance, so you're gonna need some direction. And that's, of course, where the spotter comes in, who guides the artillery rounds onto target, walks them onto the target, and then finally calls in the fire for effect command that'll bring down the real hammer. Right. The Bradleys will creep around ahead to try and see what they can see. I am expecting a lot of entrenched infantry, so I'm gonna... It's almost risky getting this close, but I'm gonna get this close, probably no further. Then I'm gonna disembark infantry, and I'm gonna try to kinda entice them into shooting at me. I've got my 2 heavy machine guns set up here, and I've also got the command squad with a ATGM, a javelin which they've pilfered from their striker. Speaking of, let's make sure that we've pilfered our javelins here, shall we? Now that we know that our BMP's down in that town, and we certainly know there's tons of technicals, having a javelin in addition to the AT4s would be quite nice. I've also deployed the 60mm mortar crew from the back of the strikers because, well, I might want... Ooh. God damn it, another one? Ah, okay, shit. Right, shit, fuck. Cancel. Oh, god dang it. Right, we gotta hunt another tank before we get going here. Well, at least I spotted it before it butchered half of my goddamn army. Right, right there, huh? I can probably ambush that, can't I? Hell, I might be able to javelin it. Can I? It's in a... No, maybe. I'll try a javelin in it. So let's see if we can't bring up a javelin team over there. It almost feels like a waste of a javelin to use it against something like that, but, you know. It's a tank. It deserves to be killed. Right. And just in case... Let's begin moving up one of the strikers too, in case I want to deal with it like that. Well, my plans of trying to deal with a tank have been interrupted. It seems. Oh, hello. Oh no, that's tank right there. As we've run in to some enemy infantry over in the hotel there, and that looks like Syrian Special Forces, a marksman to be precise. All right. Gosh darn it. Why must the enemy always make it so bloody complicated? That's what I wonder. Darn it. I don't want to leave the infantry just out there exposed to a marksman. That very rarely ends up well in my experience. So let's begin moving the Bradleys forward slowly, ever so slowly. They should be plenty safe from the tank from this direction here. And we might just go for the more expedient solution to our tank problem and simply use a striker and hope that we'll get the drop on it, which frankly we should. It shouldn't be a problem, but again, shouldn't. It's one of those damnable words. Right. Meanwhile, let's set up a little bit of covering fire to try and keep that marksman's head down. We might as well pop off some 20mm rounds. I want to be very careful here. Like, 1 or 2 salvos of 20mm, it'll be fine, but that hotel is the big no, don't shoot with HE target, so we're gonna be pretty careful with it. I have, however, been informed that all small arms, including 50 cals, will not be considered as using high explosives to damage buildings. So that is A-okay. Alright, let's... I kind of still want to try and knock that out with this, but for now, let's just have this squad return fire against that sniper there. And we'll begin putting down the 50 cal. Oh, are you doing what I think you're doing? I fear I know what you're doing. Again, this is why I would like to be able to turn off individual weapons, because I'm pretty sure this crazy little moron was not informed that they were not supposed to deploy HE against the building. Don't do it, you absolute cockweasel. Goddamn Americans! You can't trust them. There's a sniper in the building, sir. What shall we do? Fire the anti-tank missile launcher at him. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that was effective. But it really was not the solution to the problem I was looking for. God. Right, well, yeah. It's only civilians. What are the odds they'll know the rules of engagement, huh? They'll probably won't report me for it. Probably. Yeah. Alright, let's deal with that bloody tank so we can actually get going here and kill this nonsense. Right. Actually, at this point, let's not even risk him. I'll just use this bloody thing. It didn't blow any holes in it, did it? Miraculously not. Well, there is a god, as it turns out. Come on, let's just deal with this bloody tank so I can finally get this assault underway. Stop shooting at the hotel. I would really like it if you'd stop shooting at the bloody hotel. Right, 7 HE, 3 heat. We should have plenty to deal with that bloody tank. The artillery isn't getting any closer. Ooh. Was that an artillery? Right, that gets me nervous. Alright. I don't like that. That's a little bit too close. Let's get them back in the striker again. I don't like that. Don't like that one teensy weensy litsy bitsy. Alright, clear target. And now, to make sure that it's aiming at the correct target, we're going to paint out an arc like this. And that will move with the tank as it goes, so hopefully its gun will be pointing in the correct direction. There we are. That was a miss. Don't miss again. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Don't mess up the second one. Don't mess up the second one. Don't mess up the second one. Thank you. Right, cutting it a tiny bit close there. Just a little bit. Okay. Alright. Oof, bloody hell. Okay. Finally, we can get this goddamn assault underway. So, let's get it moving. Set all of the Bradleys up in covering positions where they can unload hell and fury down upon everyone beneath me. And we'll get ready to disgorge the infantry. These guys, well, they might as well be over there now. I don't want to deploy the 60mm mortars just yet because I don't know what I want to fire at. There's plenty of indications of enemy infantry over here, so we know there are bad guys, and we know they're probably over in those buildings, but again, with the requisite necessity to take care of not murdering too many civvies, we're gonna refrain from just blasting randomly, at least for the immediate time being. We are gonna move these up here too, though. And you can go up a little further. Now, the basic plan here, and the plan you'll be using very frequently in Shock Force, is to set up a base of fire. Everything you've got, whatever you got, as much as you've got, on preferably an elevated position where they can cover as much of the battlefield as possible, and then you send out the infantry to kind of be like, hey, look! Oh, more pajama men in the open. Pajama men gone. Hey, look, there's Amerikanskis in the open. You should fire at the filthy, dirty Amerikanski capitalist, pig dog, imperialist, blah, blah, blah. And when the enemy begins shooting at your meat shields, hey, I'm not the one. It's the job of the infantryman, okay? It always has been. Then everything else you've got will open fire on whatever is shooting at your infantry. In an idealized scenario, the enemy will die before your infantry does. In other scenarios, well, you didn't force them to sign up. It was entirely voluntary. Not your fault, not your problem, not your business. Right, so let's begin it with some assault maneuvers here then. And we'll have the sniper team set up as well to provide what covering fire they've got. Now we're going to use the assault order, of course, which means that half of the squad will be advancing and half of the squad will be staying. We also have engineers mounted in the IFVs. Now the engineers have blasting charges, which are very useful for smashing through walls and building walls to create alternative entrances. For right now, however, we are simply going to deploy them as a little bit of additional long-range firepower, that's all. They're all equipped with glassed rifles, so they can do the job. They won't be as good at it as a full infantry squad since... oh god, no, you're the leader. As a full infantry squad, since they of course have mixed weaponry. You can see this squad here, for example. You've got an integrated marksman with an M4 with a scope. You've got 2 squad-mounted automatic weapons. Squad-mounted, well, close enough. 2 automatic weapons. And then you've also got a couple of grenade launchers as well. The modern American infantry squad is pretty goddamn dangerous, to put it mildly. They're also carrying, of course, the javelins we pilfered from the back of the strikers, along with the AT-4 rockets. Now, normally, the AT-4s are excellent anti-infantry weapons. No, not the original intent of the weapon, mind you, but hey, it's explosive and it'll certainly clear out a building. Ooh. That looks like... that was regular army. With a marksman's rifle. Explosion. Was that just a detonation from the tank? I think it was. Right, just to make sure, we're going to tell this unit here to just have a target armor arc of this. A really, really short one, so that they won't pop any more 105mm rounds into that bloody hotel. And instead, we're going to give it a target light order against... it was this building, wasn't it? To put down some supporting fire. Did anything come of these artillery strikes over here? I don't think so. Because it looked like something was shelling. Alright, in that case we're going to move them back on. And speaking of... let's see if we can't pick up a little bit of extra ammo. Another few thousand rounds of 7.62 will never go amiss when the primary job of an MG is to suppress the ever-living shit out of the enemy, not necessarily kill them. Alright, let's see how all of this works out then. We are taking a little bit of fire. Ye old please shoot at the silly American strategy is working once more. Please stop firing the goddamn javelins at infantry. I beg of you. No? Okay. Sorry, civilians. Yeah, That's going to be a point attraction right there. See, again, I wish I could tell them to not use the 20 mils, like just turn off specific weaponry, like only use this against actual vehicles, or just use your machine gun rather than the goddamn autocannon, but yeah, I can't. This is one of the weaknesses of this campaign as well, because the idea of not using all of your weaponry is very much so in the spirit of modern warfare. It absolutely is, which is absolute bullshit in my opinion, by the way. Like, yes, we're in a modern war, blah, blah, blah. You should try to avoid civilian casualties, I agree, but this is war, okay? And if you start sending your soldiers into areas where they are going to be at a massive disadvantage and you're not going to allow them to use all of the tools at their disposal, why the hell are you fighting this war anyways? Like, if it's not worth winning, it is not worth fighting, and you should have reconsidered, frankly, but hey. That is just my old man interpretation of things. Meanwhile, we are continue to fish for enemy infantry. There's a headquarters unit in that building over there. He's decided that he doesn't want to be there anymore, and he's leaving. A wise choice. Ooh. That looked like some kind of HE. I mean, this place is almost bound to be just completely full of RPGs around every single solitary corner, so I want to be careful about that. Syrian special forces are still held up in the hotel. I mean, particularly in conditions like this, right? If the enemy is entrenched alongside the civilians, then I don't care anymore. Like, okay, the enemy has decided to paint a target on the civilian's back. Very well. Not my problem. Tally-ho, blow it the hell up. Is it mean? Is it cruel? Is it unusual? Yes, it bloody hell is. But again, it is goddamn war. It is, frankly, kind of expected to be brutal and horrifying. Alright. Let's just put down whatever suppressive fire we've got there with as much in the way of lighter weaponry as we can as well. And we'll push the strikers up a little bit. I don't want to push the strikers up too far because they do have defenses against shape charges like RPGs, but it's a very theoretical defense, shall we say. Theoretically, they can take a hit. In reality, meh, you know. You probably want to avoid taking that hit to begin with, really. Okay. Where am I taking fire from? Over in that direction. Alright, let's set up a nice little wide targeting arc here. Like that, roundabout. And continue the assault. Normally, I'd be puppering them with artillery whilst advancing on them, because nothing quite like a few 155mm artillery rounds to keep people's heads down, but, again, not allowed to use that much high explosives. Oh, we've got enemy in the near buildings, too. Autocannons are already on it, trying to keep their heads down. I should move the engineers just a pinch up further. Oh, first wounded in the assault. Yeah, you're gonna take some casualties. That is simply just war. Simple as. No matter how much you prepare, even if I did have artillery here, there's too many bloody buildings for me to cover everything effectively. And modern weaponry has a bloody lot of range. Very difficult to make sure you're not going to get shot at from every goddamn direction. They're being engaged from that second building over there too, right? Let's... We don't have a line of sight on it. We do have a line of sight on the top though, so we'll begin peppering that down. What about the heavy machine guns? Can they... They can, right? Well... I'm not expecting these to kill anything, but I am expecting them, hopefully, to keep those Special Forces' heads down a little bit. First proper casualty taken. Unfortunate, but such is life. Let's redirect you to that building over there. And we'll scooch these a little bit further forward. Try and provide as effective cover as we can to the poor bastards who have to carry out the assault. Now for you guys, you're not really equipped for the suppression role, but toss some rounds at that building there, as we did see some fire come from it. The old M4 might not be a heavy machine gun, but it'll put a bit of lead down range, just the same. Oh, that hotel is taking an absolute pounding. Not my fault. Not my fault that the Syrians decided to hide their special forces in the hotel. Not my problem. Ah, Jesus. Yep, we've got a ton of infantry entrenched in that building there. Here you see the problem with a bit of the assault move as well. If they catch the unit at just the right point, the bounding elements will not actually be in cover. Like, they won't be ready to shoot, but the rest of the squad will still move up, and so you can end up in a situation like this where the entire squad gets murdered and they don't even return fire. It's infuriating because it's such a retarded thing, and soldiers would naturally go like, okay, well, we're getting murdered right now, perhaps it's time to I don't know, take a knee and fire back. But again, sadly, the AI might be relatively reasonable. That does not by any stretch of the imagination mean that it's perfect, or anywhere close even for that matter either. Right, well, we'll try to get those casualties back so we can save them at least. Alright, do you want to move up the engineers? Honestly, I feel like we're probably gonna need to here, so let's send the engineers forward as well here. And we'll have the striker provide a bit of cover to it all. Speaking of cover, you know what? No, actually no, I don't want to move it. I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk a artillery round suddenly starting to land amongst those heavy machine guns and wipe them all out, because the HMGs are pretty goddamn useful. Continue the assault, my little Daleks. No, they're just turning more dirt over there. Right. So, I'm going to have these guys just rally on their wounded, provide as medical aid as they can. I'm going to have them deploy smoke as well in the next turn. Rather than push on. They'll be safer in a little bit of... And there's not cover or concealment, but... they are in the dock, and the enemy don't have a whole lot of night vision gear, so they're better off here than pushing forward with loads of casualties. Better to try and recover the wounded in these scenarios. Right, and pop the smoke. Alright, it's doing the dumbass thing. Face that direction and pop smoke. There you are. That should give cover whilst they recover the worst of the wounded. All in all, the attack hasn't been bad. I would have gotten away with just one wounded from the forward squad if it weren't for the fact that that building there caught me just at the wrong point in the attack animation, so that all of the actual covering troops were up here, unable to see, and the bounding troops were here, getting slaughtered by two AKs at point-blank range. The AK may be old, but it's still a machine gun, and it's still gonna rip through a squad awfully goddamn quick out in the open like that. Could have been worse. Could have been an entire squad of enemy regular army in there with heavy and light machine guns. There we are. Always make sure to provide casualty recovery. Wounded soldiers, more often than not, can fight again so long as you can stabilize them and get them to proper medical facilities. Oh, gosh darn it. More bloody artillery strikes, I'm halfway tempted to risk it, since this cover fire is kind of important, but they are way too exposed up there. The worst is almost over, though. So long as I can just get the infantry in the town, they'll finally have the advantage of good, actual cover, which will help out immensely. Oh, actually, we've got one squad casualty over there, which I didn't see. Hurry up, and you guys are going to go over there and take care of him. How are you doing? Have you recovered? Nope, they're still in the process of recovering. They're wounded. They still haven't pumped that goddamn smoke I ordered them to either. God damn it. Americans. They all think that they're Rambo or something, don't they? Bandaging one another up with the American flag and hoping for the best.
Ceasefire, ceasefire.
Plenty of ammo, yes. Well, they seem to have realized what I'm doing over here, so we'll begin moving the heavy machine guns up here to find a bit of a better position. Right, and I think I'm gonna begin wrapping it up there, because the mission itself is gonna go on for another probably hour or two. These are long, bloody missions, as I now need to pick I basically need to do what I just did, but another 12 times I move from one building to the other, setting up a firebase, moving from one building to the other, and so on. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Like, if you like tactical strategy, this is probably one of the best games and one of the best series on the market, bar absolutely none. And due to the disparity in the fighting forces, this is a very welcoming entry as well, as you are going to have the actual advantage over the enemy. Oh, Christ. Yeah, there you go. There's an entire squad in there. And again, that bounding cover screws me over, as the guys supposed to give cover are, of course, a little bit too far back.
Grenade, down.
Right. Really? Oh, Christ. I must have killed a lot more dudes than Oh! Huh. There were way less enemies in this area than I was expecting. Way less. We had a few squads of special forces, which got murdered. And we had several squads of regular infantry in here. I'd expected more. I had expected each and every one of these goddamn buildings to be filled with the regulars. But I might have gotten very lucky when I murdered these 3 BMPs. They might have been carrying a lot of extra infantry reinforcement that all got slaughtered inside of their armored fighting vehicles. See, these squads in these positions are absolute bloody nightmares. You've got 3 AK-74s at point-blank range in a position where you cannot provide adequate suppressing fire. Like, the only way to deal with positions like this is to either know that they're there somehow and outflank them, or put down suppressing artillery fire to wound them, to beat the hell out of them and get them pinned, and then send in the assault squads. But all in all, We didn't do too badly there. 1 dead, 6 wounded. I'll take it. And perfect timing as well. Until next time then, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day.